In this video, I'd like to talk about how to factor perfect squares. So you're going to be given this quadratic expression, and we need to factor it as a product of two binomials. But since it's a perfect square, those two binomials will actually be the same expression. So you have a couple different methods to approach these. You can either use factoring by grouping, or just when the coefficient on x squared is 1, you can use that reverse FOIL method. Or you can follow the formula. So let me show you the formula. Let's say you have a perfect square. So essentially we're going to be starting with the answer side. But let's say it's a plus b squared. And to find the formula, we're just going to multiply this out. So remember, when you have something squared, it's this whole thing multiplied twice. So do not write this as a squared plus b squared. This is arguably one of the most common mistakes when learning algebra. So those are not equal expressions because this binomial squared, we have to rewrite it as a plus b times a plus b. So it's this whole thing multiplied that many times. You want to remember your basic rules of exponents. And once we've written it twice, we can multiply it out with distribution or with the FOIL method. So the a goes into both of those and the b goes into both of those, and we're multiplying. So a times a is a squared, a times b is ab, b times a, I'm just going to rewrite it as ab. Doesn't matter which way you write it since multiplication can be switched. And then b times b is b squared. And we can combine these two middle terms so that you get a squared plus 2, let me rewrite that, 2ab plus b squared. So this is our formula. I'll just rewrite the first part. A plus b squared is equal to a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. So when you're using this formula, you just need to match up what a and b are, and then you can just plug them in. So notice that the coefficient on x squared is 1. So a in this case is just x. And b, notice that the constant term here is equal to b squared. So we want to think what number multiplied by itself gives us 9, and that would be 3. So in this case, b would be 3. And so we can just plug those into our answer here, or the other side of the formula, this a plus b squared, and we can rewrite this as x plus 3 squared. And we want to check our work at this point. You don't want to just assume that you did this correctly. And to check it, we can just re-multiply it out. So I'll write x plus 3, and we're squaring it, so we need to rewrite it twice, x plus 3 times x plus 3. And now we use distribution, or the FOIL method. So the x goes into both of those. You get x squared plus 3x, and the 3 goes into both of those. You get 3x, or plus 3x, and then 3 times 3 would be positive 9. And we can recombine these. So x squared plus 6x plus 9. And you get back what you started with, which means you can feel very confident that this is in fact the right answer. So this is the method for factoring these using the formula. And you may or may not like using the formula. And in general, it's not good to just memorize anything. But if you can rederive the formula just from starting with this and multiplying it out, then that's a very valid way to approach this. Now, if you just memorize the formula, you might run into trouble later. So I encourage you, if you will, or if you do want to use the formula method, to just learn where this formula comes from and be able to derive it yourself. Now, the other method is factoring by grouping, or we can use that reverse FOIL method. And so I'm going to show you one more example where I use the formula, and then I'll use just the factoring by grouping method. So let's go on to the next one. So we need to factor this as a product of two binomials. So I'm going to rewrite our formula as a plus b squared, which is equal to a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. So again, we want to figure out what a and b are. And so let me just rewrite the equation, 36 plus 12x plus x squared. And so it looks like in this case that the b squared term is x squared. So x is equal to b, or b and x are the same thing. And then the a squared term is equal to 36. So what number, when you square it, gives you 36? And that would just be 6. So a in this case is 6. And so let's just plug them into the formula. We have 6 plus x, and we're squaring it. And this should be our answer. But we need to check it. We don't want to just assume that this is the right answer. So let's re-multiply it out. So 6 plus x times 6 plus x. Remember, you got to rewrite it twice. And we're just going to distribute here. So the 6 goes into both of those. You get 36, and 6 times x is 6x. And then the x goes into both of those. So x times 6 would be 6x, and x times x would be x squared. And notice, the two middle terms do add up to this 12x here. So we can feel very confident that this is, in fact, the right factorization. So from here, we can just write it in our box. We have 6 plus x, and we're squaring it. Now, if you wrote it as x plus 6, that would technically be correct as well. So either way works.